Are you ready?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Art of Comics. Irashaimase. I'm your host, Andres Salazar, and we're doing part 2, and I think we can finish it up here, of Frank Frazetta's, is he the greatest illustrator of our time? Possibly. Definitely the most impactful, I think, of modern pop art. And he knew what he was doing. He had a very specific milieu, and he freaking executed excellent. Do you guys know I have a new channel? It's called the Art Hub. Art Hub has all my lessons, tutorials, artist interviews, day in the life of an artist, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to learn a little bit more about the process of making art, go check out the Art Hub. That's that. But here, we're sticking to comics and illustration, things like that. So let's get on with it. We're now moving to part 2, which is 1960 to 69. These are just wonderful, these Tarzan works that he was doing. He did a lot of this we talked earlier in part 1, which you should go see, in watercolor. And he moves from watercolor into oils. And I would say some of the stuff is just really cool. I love the positioning of these little studies. And perhaps the rendering is not quite all there here. This is a little weak, I would say, considering some of his later work. But, I mean, look at the nice brush work he's doing here. He's using different things to get some effects. I'm just not in love with that one, but, you know, this is where... but then you got something like this, right, which is just freaking, I mean, what can be said? Just the anatomy, his sense of anatomy, and really it's composition, right? This beautiful triangular form with him at the top. This is not an easy position to draw as well because of the angle of the face. That's hard to do. And then you have something like this just to create some variety and interest. Just really well done. His ink work was superb. And the fact that he could do stuff like this as well as paint, he just, is a master. And then here's another one, just beautiful in this one as well. These ink drawings, I think, are some of his best stuff, to be honest. As a guy, who loves comics and that kind of thing, this is just fabulous. Ability to draw the human body as well as animals. Animals is like a sub-skill. It's very, it's not easy. I like this too. I like this like red underpainting on here and the rocks. And I like this. I kind of like this. This is really fun, very vibrant. This red. It's kind of unusual. And then he doesn't do that so much. And after this, kind of almost feels very sketchy and loose. I like that. And now we've got... if not the most iconic, one of the most iconic pieces of work that he did, which is the Conan. Here's a little sketch of it. I like that, actually, the Conan there. But just take a moment to gander at this, and hopefully my big noggin's not getting in the way of the camera. I'll try for it not to, but at times you might see my head come out a little bit. Apologies for that. What stands out to me in this painting actually is, first off, the background. A lot of times we don't really pay attention to or see, but there's actually is stuff going on. I'm not a super fan of this fire, but I do like this thing happening in the background and these like images, this like castle Grayskull type deal, the snake, the skull. And then, of course, those things are in the background, so they're lighter. Things in the foreground are darker, right? So we're obeying those kind of principles. Always have some kind of a handout that's, an axe, beautiful woman. But what strikes me interesting is the multitude of colors he's using for the body. not only do we have like the traditional kind of Zorn palette, we'll call it, with yellow ochre and umber and vermilion, things like that, but he's using greens and there's reds. The greens and these splattering of different colors to give it this fleshiness to it, almost Frankenstein type of a mottled coloring, I think is a very interesting choice. And all this weaponry and like metal regalia stuff that he's got on is cool, and I think we see a lot of this in the future. If you look at Elmore's work, Larry Elmore's work, or a lot of the Dungeons and Dragons type of illustrations and fantasy illustrations, it's using this kind of, I'll call it iconography or imagery of metal and gold and things like that in this kind of format. So I don't know if he was the first one to kind of start that, but definitely people grabbed onto it and thought, that's cool. A sword handle, the gold sword handle with the rubies in it and an eagle. They're like, oh, let's do that. I think this is a really cool painting too. I love the red. I love the movement of this and the light. It's almost as though the cape is reflecting light onto him. It's very cool. Just great energy. This is a nice painting too, just because of the contrast. These Conan series was pretty important for his career. I think the Conan series really made him take off, those books. And here's another great one. I do love seeing the canvas texture in here. So there's a lot of dry brush you can see and kind of layers of painting. This is beautiful too. I wish this one was actually full sized, because just there's a lot here. Interesting fact, a lot of these are not that big. This is actually a bigger one, 24 by 18. A lot of these are like 20 by 16. So he's not even going that big on those paintings. And I was surprised by that. I thought he worked a lot bigger, but he's not working big at all. And then, he can always, of course, do these characters and go into that kind of work. All this stuff here he did. This is Hollywood was coming a calling, and they're going to pay him a lot of money. And he was the type of guy where if he can get a job done for, in 8 hours versus 20 hours, he's going to do the 8-hour job, because it's all about time. For him, he wasn't obsessed about painting, from what I've read. He was good at it, but it was a job, and so he would rather play with his kids or go do sports or do other things. So he wasn't like spending more time than needed for work. He would do it, get it done, and then be done with it. But this is very good. This kind of funny, we'll call it quote unquote funny cartoon type of work is really good. I mean, it definitely looks different, right? You look at this and you look at Conan, you're like, oh, different guy, right? Totally different guy. Medium, aesthetic, techniques, style, all that, different. No, dude, same person. I love that. And then there's this, right? So there's like, he can go all over, and this beautiful watercolor. His watercolor stuff was great too. I like people who are versatile. I think that's why I choose to do so many different things, because I get bored with it, or I just like it. This is just, there's only one word, it's gorgeous. The vegetation here, the line work, the positions, the shadows on the body, everything. This is a beautiful image. I mean, this is real. There's a realism to it. So good. And this is only, what is this? It's only 11 by 9. It's small. This is like the actual size. I mean, gosh. He's just going to town. And we got more of these like cool plates. So cool. Yeah, I love that one too. Knew what he was doing, let me tell you. So great colors in that one. The book talks about how to even do a couple of different versions, and so he did. Rarely would he redo the whole thing, but I think the painting got messed up. This is a great painting. We see this a lot too. This is another kind of one of his famous ones, the storm giants, or they're called snow giants. It's just really cool. The colors here are great, and then he could do some landscape. He just like pops out this landscape. Bob Ross style, just like, okay, we're gonna do that. Love the dinosaurs. Love these sketches. Super cool. This looks very different too. This feels like another artist. This is a great color. Really neat color here. These greens, working against these warm colors here. You got blues, you got these hot, warm orange vermilion. Yeah. He's all kinds of colors modeled out. The rest of this book is just illustrations, so we're just going to go through them, and I'm going to just share with you guys what I think. Complementary colors in this whole thing, orange and blue. That's what you're doing. With a red cape, show acts, really bring your eye to them. This here is beautiful stuff. This stuff is beautiful. Yeah, great work. He knew how to draw women. We've talked about that before. I guess some of these were from Playboy. Some of these, but it's gorgeous stuff here. Just the positioning, the composition, really pretty. This is another beautiful painting. Just the deep colors are great. Yeah. There we go. More work. This is really pretty. Some little sketches and preliminary work prior to a painting, perhaps. This is a cool one. I like this one too. Yeah. It's good. This isn't easy. These hips, the way the hips go in. I mean, he knew anatomy. He knew like real woman anatomy too. It was very much like this looks like a real person. Those curves are, what it would be. They're not like idealized. I mean, they are, but it's not unrealistic. This is fun. I think that was another character before, and he turned on to that. That was like a Tales from the Crypt. Yeah, Tales from the Crypt. That's cool. This is neat too. This is a cover of Eerie. I'm not a fan of this one. It's okay, but it's not as kind of like finished or polished as some of the others. This is very nice. I think that's cool. Wow, look at this. Look at the rocks on here. Look at all this. This is very, it looks like palette knife work, just hacking away. Yeah, and then the sky here and the night. Yeah, this is kind of fun. I like this one a lot, actually. He looks like he's playing with some other techniques, maybe. These are two more eerie covers. That's cool. The mushrooms. Like Sergeant Rock. It looks like kind of like a Vietnam battle. World War II. Didn't do a lot of war stuff, but you see it sometimes. Executioner. This was in Creepy magazine. This is nice. I like this a lot. This is more painterly. I would say this is, now we're getting into a lot more the oils, kind of the smoothness of it. Whereas this is, you know, a little bit more rougher. Blue and oranges. This is a very famous painting too. I think this is an eerie or creepy cover. This is nice. A lot of darks. Oh, this is cool too. Good composition. Yeah. There's just so many. I mean, this thing is massive, guys. We're just like going through these at a very rapid clip, and I apologize, but you can always pause it and take a little bit more time looking at them. This is the second time for me looking through this, and I'm so excited to have it because I will go back to this and refer to it often, I think. I had a print of this, and it's probably like one of his weaker ones, but I had it because, I don't know, I got it at some yard sale, I think. It does a little color study, and then he goes into a lot of people do that. I don't do that much. I probably should, just to work out some of the issues. '70 to '79. Death Dealer. So there was Conan, and then there was Death Dealer. And then there was Clint Eastwood, who really liked Frank, and he's like, I want you to paint me for this thing. And he did, reluctantly, I think. Death Dealer was a big deal. Oh my gosh, there's this too. Just, my goodness. Just, so, I didn't even notice a body there. Yeah, it's a body there. So done. This is cool. Look at the colors. And it's very abstract. I mean, he's really playing with some very big shapes and colors. Yeah, this is fun. This is kind of really playing with different stuff there. This is nice. Nice little design stuff. We don't see him do that much. It's usually these big atmospheric landscapes with a figure, right? So it's kind of nice to show him in this other form where he's like having to draw a kitchen table. It's usually these big dynamic. That's what he was known for. Perhaps that's what he liked the most. I don't know. This is really good. The butt, just because the lines right there, just that just adds some realism to that figure. Some more Conan. These were, I think these were Lord of the Rings plates that they made. That's a great one too. Is that Gollum? Maybe? Yeah, probably Gollum. I like this one too. A lot of times he would do a drawing, I think I mentioned this in part one, he would do a painting it's for a book, so she's got to be clothed. And then he would get the original back, and then he would take out the clothes because he's like, I want to draw the boobs. This is a very nice painting too. This is good, but this is better. Again, I'm an abstract guy, so maybe because of that. You know, here, there's hardly any background. He's just drawing this figure, and I think he got away with that. Maybe other guys couldn't. But the figures were so well done. Yeah. It's interesting, too, is you notice some of these are really highly rendered and really looks like he spent a lot of time getting a lot of smoothness to it. And others, it looks a little bit more gestural or rushed, perhaps even. Don't know. It could have been just that's what he thought was when it's finished. These are great. I'm always going to love these. And I always liked the way he did rocks, and he kind of blended out. He went kind of minimal. These lines are really great. Okay, these are good. This is very cool. The bodies. He's just great at bodies, man. What more can we say? He knew how to draw bodies. This is another one. See this, the hindquarters. Just really well done. Always the same face with this kind of protruding forehead, very smooth, no eyebrows, not super big lips, but you know, and I guess there's things. They do have big lips, but this forehead, always that kind of like a little childlike, maybe. It's always the same model, looks like. Maybe that was his idealized woman. I mean, I'm not gonna speculate. This looks like freaking Bernie Fuse. It's interesting, just the colors, the way it's laid down. Yeah, it's interesting. Oh, don't skip no pages. This is Battlestar Galactica, which is good. This. Thought we saw this one already or something similar to this. The colors though are great. Really like that. 2008 or 1980 to 2010. Talks about Fire and Ice. If you've seen that film, which was made with Ralph Bakshi, it's okay. I'm not in love with it. More Death Dealer. We saw this earlier. It's a nice painting. I do feel overwhelmed. Like sometimes you're going through these and you're just like, man, gosh, there's so much. And you're just like, after a while, you get a little numb to it, you know? You get a little numb to the work. This is like one of his best. You know, it's got everything: the composition, the background, it's the rendering, it's one of the best. Maybe just that right there is what sells the whole thing too. In a way, this is great. These are great. These Death Dealer guys. I mean, that's a hindquarters right there. That's There's some junk in that trunk. He doesn't do a lot of sci-fi, right? But there's these, he does some. I like it. He's no Dean Rogers or Roger Dean. Which one is it? Dean Roger or Roger Dean? Maybe it was Roger Dean. But it's good. I like this one a lot. I think this was repainted because I think he had an erection, I think, in the original. But I just like the position of that. A lot of female. Well, a lot of male too, actually. A lot of everything. I always speed through the end, and I apologize. The bibliography. I think this is it. Now, this is just gonna show like all the books he did, and just check these out. I mean, just fascinating. All the magazines, all the work he did, all the covers, the Tarzans, just tons and tons. It's a beautiful one. And it goes on and on. And he just worked and worked. And you think like he could have done even more, but I think he just started. I mean, he got paid so well, rightfully. So, I think that's it, guys. This is the end of the road, and I want to thank you for watching. And here's the creepies. I want to know how it ends. I want to know what's the last, the record albums. Boom. That's it. There you go. There you go, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time.